Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to my review and reaction to the Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer dropped earlier today at New York Comic-Con. I watched it once, I watched it twice, I watched it a third time. Let's just get into it. The link to the trailer is in the description of the video. I can't play the audio. They'll probably strike me even for showing it, but we'll see what happens. So if you want to watch it, I suggest you do. Put closed captioning on. You get to see some extra information. So the trailer begins with Captain Picard at some type of restaurant. He's asking, he said, thanks you. He gets some type of food, and some people come over, and he doesn't know who they are, and they say, Admiral. Okay, well, what's this about? It's a Paramount Plus original, of course. Now we get some video in space. There's a whole bunch of debris, and that ship there is the USS Titan A. Yes, this is the Titan A. If you remember, the Titan was the ship that Riker became captain of at the end of Star Trek Nemesis. And then we saw the Titan in Star Trek Lower Decks. And it was a very cool looking ship, but it wasn't this ship. This ship is a completely different design than the Titan, and it's the Titan A. And listen, it's been 20 years since Nemesis Plus, so okay, I could understand. Now, what I don't understand is why the Titan all of a sudden gets an A when only the Enterprise has had A, B, C, or D, over the years. Now the Titan has got an A. I know in Star Trek Discovery, they started giving Voyager started getting letters. There was a Voyager J in the distant future. But at some point, the Federation or Starfleet started tacking letters onto the end of other ships. So we have the Titan A. And the Titan A is a pretty interesting design. I actually like the look of the ship. But man, the amount of debris there must be for it to be like that. It must have been like something the size of Space Dock had to have been destroyed for there to be so much debris for a ship the size of the Titan, which is a fairly big ship, to be flying through it. And meanwhile, we're hearing Captain Picard or Admiral Picard saying he received a distress call from Beverly Crusher. Riker is there with a flashlight walking through the debris. We're getting another scene, obviously. We see Raffi walking through some neighborhood on some other planet, maybe like a casino planet. Picard is saying, who is out there? And we get a nice shot of the Titan. Crusher, Dr. Crusher, is talking back to Captain Picard, saying she doesn't know who's out there. The Titan goes by. Picard says, we must run. And Seven of Nine is there speculating, asking, from what? From what are we supposed to run? And we see this ship come out of a cloud, come out of a thunderstorm in space, and it's got all these pointy parts. And so, the very first time I watched this, I got the feeling that it was like a Riemann ship. It gave me the feeling we were watching Star Trek 2009 again. I thought we were going to see the same villain from that, Nero. I thought Nero was coming back and he had more red matter and he was back in the future or somehow, and he was going to get vengeance on Admiral Picard. But no, the ship comes through, and I have no idea what the ship is. And we get the bad guy reveal in the captain's chair, turning around, and you're like, oh, who's this guy? But you look a little closer, and it's not a guy at all. It's actually a woman. And she says, how very precise with your timing, Jean Luc Picard. Which is kind of weird to say like that. Like, does she know Captain or Admiral Picard or not? Jean Luc Picard, but she doesn't say it in a informal way. I have no idea who this woman is. We're not supposed to know. They don't ever mention her name, except if you have the closed captioning turned on. We do see later in the trailer that her name is Vadic, Vadic. I searched Memory Alpha. I searched Google. There is no references out there to any person named Vadic in the Star Trek universe, except with to do with this this trailer. There's no other place Vadic, Vadic, and Star Trek ever show up together in the entire history of the internet. So she's a new bad guy. Although there was something very familiar about her, I just couldn't put my finger on it. I almost thought she was from an old episode, but apparently not. But she is pissed. And she's going to destroy Earth, the Federation. What could she be so mad at? I guess we'll figure it out when the show comes. She orders the fire, and of course her ship appears to be vastly more powerful than the Titan. The Titan is running away, and we get, I don't know if he's Captain Worf, if he's Admiral Worf, if he's Ambassador Worf, I don't know, but we get Worf, and he says, and my head broke, my face palmed when I heard this. Worf says that you should know that he now prefers pacifism to violence. Worf, the quintessential Klingon warrior, now prefers pacifism to violence. But he says this with a mek'leth clearly on his back. How many pacifists do you know that walk around with a lethal weapon hanging on their back? Count. In the entire history of Earth, there's been many notable pacifists, like Mahatma Gandhi. How many weapons did Gandhi have on his person at all times? 2, 3, 6? Well, I don't know, but he didn't wear them on his back. Worf, who is claiming to be a pacifist, has a mek'leth clearly in the shot of the camera. So, is it possible that this is just Worf telling a joke? And you think back to those DS9 episodes with him and Jadzia, and he would tell jokes that Jadzia didn't realize they were jokes at first, but then he'd crack a smile, and he'd be like, and on the Enterprise, I was considered very funny. And Jadzia was like, that must have been one dull ship. So maybe this is Worf telling a joke. I kind of hope it is, but God help me. If we're really supposed to believe that he's taken a life of pacifism, but just takes a mek'leth just in case, I don't know. What is a joke is Riker behind him. As soon as Worf says that, Riker says, we're all going to die. And they beam out. Now, Worf was talking to 7 of 9, because 7 of 9 is now a bigger ass-kicking warrior than Worf. Because of course she is. February 16th. February 16th. What's today? October 8th. So October, November, December, January, February, 4 months. 4 months away from the premiere of Star Trek Picard, Season 3. They are blind to something big, says Raffi. It could be what it always was. Attempts on your life, says Dr. Crusher. Dr. Crusher is saying that this is what it's always been. So what has it always been? Some recurring thing. The only thing I can think of was that Ferengi who had a hard-on for Picard because Picard killed his son. Is that Ferengi still out there waiting to get retribution, I suppose? But clearly that woman is not a Ferengi, so I don't know. Worf and Riker, Picard's telling Geordi about Worf and Riker, and Geordi, it's like, you roped them into this too? Like, who the fuck are you, Geordi? Yeah, Worf and Riker, Picard would go to them before he'd go to you. What right do you have to say you roped them into this too? You were supposed to be dead, Geordi. You were supposed to be dead. At the beginning of the season 1 of Picard, you were dead. They had to reprint a fucking comic book to bring you back to life because they realized the show sucked so much they were going to have to bring back all the TNG people, all the TNG co-stars that Patrick Stewart himself said at the beginning of this series he didn't want any of you. He didn't want any of you people back in his show. He said that out loud. And only because Star Trek Picard Season 1 and later Season 2 sucked so badly did they realize, holy shit, we better not kill Geordi before the show even begins. They reprinted the fucking comic book that was supposed to be read before the show started, that it came late. It came a week after the show started. It was supposed to come out the week before the show started. And yeah, I was pissed because I was like one of 68 people in the United States that actually pre-ordered that fucking comic book. And I got it delayed because they had to bring you back to life. And who the fuck are you to talk to Picard like that now? But I digress. Worf is saying he was once like her, irrational and violent. You know what? You weren't irrational, but you were violent. It's called honor. It's called warrior. It's called the fucking Klingon culture. Okay? You used to care about those things. The final voyage begins. It gives me chills like Star Trek 5 all over again. Not in a good way. La Forge, gun it, says Picard. But there's a girl. Let's go back a couple of frames. That is La Forge. La Forge, Geordi, is not who he's talking to. He's talking to her. Willing to bet that is Geordi's daughter. Geordi's daughter with Leah Brahm. Gun it, stay inside. And now we see there's a darkness on the ship. This is Counselor Troi, I believe, talking. An all-consuming darkness. Yeah, she can feel this darkness. And then, of course, we get another close-up of the big bad villain for this season. I have no idea. Again, her name appears to be Vadic, V-A-D-I-C. Yeah, there it is, Vadic. I'll peck and I'll jab. And we see a Starfleet building being 9/11'd into the ground. And everything that makes you, you. We will scorch the earth under which he stands. It's like she's talking to an entire crew of people who just hate Picard. And then the night will brighten. And we get with the ashes of the Federation. Who really cares so much about the Federation at this point? Especially humans. Who are so angry at the Federation? I really just don't get it. I mean, I get the Romulans had reason to hate the Federation, the Klingons, Cardassians, the Breen, the Founders, all types of people. What are humans? Why do humans hate the Federation? I don't know. But hey, we get a beautiful shot of Space Dock, which was recently made bigger by those extra pods on the side. We've got fireworks in space, probably the launch, I would guess, of the Enterprise F, which is this ship. This ship we see the Enterprise F, NCC 1701F. I'm told it looks a lot like the Enterprise F from Star Trek Online. It's not something I play, but it's a pretty standard TNG design, TNG era, Voyager, Deep Space Nine era design ship. Whereas the Titan A and the Stargazer that we got last season, those are more like TOS ships, TOS movie era ships. The round, perfectly round saucer sections. They look like a Miranda or a refit Constitution. But the F clearly has gone back to, what we would have saw in Voyager, like an Intrepid or the Prometheus. So the Titan A is clearly getting blown to bits. We have Marina Sirtis just staring at something. Luckily, she's not driving a ship. But first, we will have vengeance. Vengeance. What vengeance? What did he do to this lady? Riker is yelling, "Fire everything we've got." That was the La Sirena. At least, let's see. At least it certainly looked like it. Yeah, first we'll have vengeance. Fire everything we've got. I got a whole bunch of photon torpedoes. This shot. I don't know if it's supposed to be the La Sirena, or if it's just that they redressed the La Sirena to use as an alien ship, but I'm going to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt that this is indeed the La Sirena, because that's exactly what it looks like on the inside. So the La Sirena is back. And then the most unexpected section of the trailer, right here towards the end, we get none other than Professor Moriarty. Yes, the hologram, the original hologram turned psycho, trying to take over the Enterprise and kill everybody. The poor professor, all he wanted was to be made into a real boy, and Captain Picard convinced him that if he would only shut himself off, that the Federation's top minds would start working on a way to transport him from the holodeck and remake him as a real person. And then for several years, he just sat in protected memory, disembodied from his holographic body, and nobody worked on it at all. Here, Picard, the Federation, nobody gave two shits about him. He was just sitting there forever in computer memory until one day Reginald Barclay had to fix the holodeck and found this mysterious code being executed, and he turned him on and was like, what the hell are you? And he's like, you mean Captain Picard never told you who I was? That you're not a Starfleet expert tirelessly working on a way to bring me out of here into the real world? And Barclay's like, you're a fucking hologram. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're crazy. I'm going to shut you off now. And then Moriarty turned himself back on. And by the end of the second episode, they realized they couldn't do anything for him. So they lied to him, which granted, he did try to take over the Enterprise and kill everybody. But they lied to him, told him he was alive, and he was actually in a holodeck. And then they turned off the holodeck and saved his program and put this cartridge into a box and said they programmed it with a full lifetime of experiences for him and his holographic wife. And they were going to explore the galaxy, never knowing they were still holograms. And that was the happy ending, never to be seen again until 30 years later when, holy shit, we need to do something to save our failing show. So let's bring Professor Moriarty out of retirement. My guess is this is like a one-off scene where they need to go into his hologram and ask him a question for some reason. And, they see him and that's it. I don't think this really has anything to do with the season. I think it's just something to throw into the trailer, but we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. And Dr. Moriarty says, greetings, old friends. And he pulls out a pistol. Star Trek Picard, the final season, streaming February 16th. That's 2023, by the way. Oh, right, one more throwback. Brent Spiner. Look at how angry he looks. In what appears to be a TNG-like 25% different uniform. And he's looking through a door, and Geordi looks at him and says, Lore. So Lore is back. Now, Lore, Data's brother. Now, why has Lore aged? Okay, Data, it was not supposed to age. And I know there's some people who say, no, Data was supposed to age. Fuck you, Data was not supposed to age. But let's say, for the moment, Data was supposed to age, and so was Lore. Lore would have aged too. Why would Lore have aged if he's been disconnected? Okay, if he's been disabled, I'll grant you Lore might exist. But there's no way Lore has been online and active for the last 30 years. Lore has probably been in a box for 25 years. So he should not have aged as much as Data. He should not have aged as much as Brent Spiner. Okay? He should look pretty much like he looked the last time we saw him, which was in season 6 or season 7 of TNG. He shouldn't look old as shit. But he does. So why is that Lore and not before or Data or anybody else? God only knows. But this, oh my God, this teaser trailer, 2.5 minutes. It's actually not a teaser trailer. This is actually 2.5 minutes is a legit trailer. I don't know why they call it a teaser trailer. It's the New York Comic Con 2022 teaser trailer for Star Trek Picard. Yeah, I mean, the ships look good. Space dock looks good. I don't know who the crazy woman is, but actually, I'm kind of happy she's a bad guy because she's clearly wackadoodle. And I don't know. I don't know. If Worf really is a pacifist, then uh, shame on Michael Dorn for taking the character in that direction. But I'm starting to think that was just a joke. And if it was a joke, I might be able to live with that. I don't get a whole lot of positive vibes from this trailer. I really did want to like season 3. I really wanted to like, the old cast. I still watch TNG almost every night. Almost every night, I put on Pluto TV and go to their Star Trek channel, and it's just Next Generation episode after episode after episode. So literally, most nights, I'm still watching TNG. I don't want to see it end like this. I don't want to see it end with Picard, a babbling old man, and Worf, a fucking pacifist, and Geordi having, I don't know, some type of conniption with Picard. I don't want to see it end like this. I don't want to see Beverly Crusher not with Captain Picard in some way. I just don't want to see Marina Sirtis, period. But whatever, if she's in there, fine. I don't know. I give this trailer a pretty crappy rating, but check it out for yourself. And I hope, I don't know, God have mercy on our souls. That's it. Birdo Prey 5 out. Qapla.